A very good afternoon to all the viewers. I am Dr. Sirisha, lecturer in commerce from TSWRDC, Warangal West. My topic for today's presentation is the financial statement analysis of business enterprise. The reason why I have taken this topic is because to make the layman, that is a common person, to understand and to know the importance of financial statement analysis of business enterprise. As we all are connected with the business in some way or the other, maybe as in the form of a customer or as a competitor or as a manager or as an employee, or even a government is also connected with the business. Now, how? For example, if you take a customer is interested to know that which business is offering him the goods at a cheaper rate without sacrificing the cost. In the same manner, if you see the government shows interest in which industry is earning more profits. Then if you see from the investor's point of view, if you are playing an investor role, then you will see that which business is giving you more profit. And as an employee, you will see that your company is earning more profits or not, because your growth of increments depends on your profitability of the company. So like this, each and every individuals will have a connection with the business because they expect something from the business. Now, what is a business? Business is nothing but it is being busy in the economic activity. I am stressing here it is economic activity, not just an activity. Because when you are being busy in economic activity, why anyone will be busy in economic activity? Because they will expect something in the return. What is that return? It is nothing but profit. So if you ask any person, what is the main objective of a business? So they will be telling that profit. No doubt that profit is important. But there are some other dimensions also where we have to look into, which focuses on the profit of the company. Now, before going in depth of this session, where we will cover all these dimensions, let me take you to the learning objectives of today's session. So, we will see what are the learning objectives. First, to understand the nature and purpose of financial statement analysis, tools and techniques of financial statement analysis, need of ratio analysis technique, then to assess liquidity position, solvency position, profitability and turnover position of the business. Now first we will go to the first object. Before that, let me tell you, a business person generally he will try to see what is his profit at end of the period. Not only the profit, he will look into some other aspects like how much stock is remained in his business and what is about his payments to the outsiders and how much amount he is going to get from the outsiders. So he will be taking care of all these aspects. The same aspects, if we put it in a technical way, we say that every business enterprise has to prepare two financial statements. That is, one is income statement and other one is balance sheet. Now from income statement, we will be getting the information about the company's profit or loss. And from the balance sheet, we will be getting the company's financial position. Now this income statement and balance sheet, which are the two important financial statements, they alone are not self-explanatory. Just seeing the financial statement, you can't analyze what does it mean. So here comes into the picture our first objective, that is to understand the nature and purpose of financial statement analysis. That is, what is financial statement analysis? Financial statement analysis is a systematic process of applying analytical tools to companies' financial statements and to understand the company's health in terms of evaluating past, present and future performance of a company. Now, these financial statements of a company, what we said earlier, that is about the income statement and balance sheet, they are analyzed with applying an analytical tools. But they will consider past, present and future. What is the necessity to consider the past? Why don't we take only the present into consideration? For example, assume that you are an investor and you want to invest in a business. Now, just seeing the present position of a business, will you conclude that, okay, this business, this firm, this company is good and I am going to invest in it? No, definitely not. You will see their past record and then you will take a decision. Similarly, if you are a creditor and you want to supply goods on the credit basis to one business, and just seeing the present credit worthiness of any business, you will give goods on the credit basis? No, you will see again past record. If you go to a bank for a loan purpose, and bank will also definitely see the past records of your credit worthiness and they will decide whether to grant you the loan or not. So, definitely we have to analyze the past to take the present situation decision for the future performance. While we are evaluating this past, present and future, we will consider some standards of comparisons. That is, first is intra-comparison. What is intra-comparison? The name itself says intra. Intra means within us, within ourselves. For example, students, when they get a progress card, what they will see? First they will see that what are the marks that they got, whether they got this time more marks than comparing to the previous exam. Then they will see, okay, when comparing to all the previous exams, how much more this marks is it increasing or is it decreasing? That means first they will analyze themselves, then they will compare with their classmates, what happened to their friends. Similarly, in the business also, a business person will first try to analyze in his business about the business position. For example, if you take an entrepreneur, and there is one entrepreneur who started a business 5 years back and he want to see his trend. Okay, this year he is earning profits, but earning profits only for this year is not important. He has to see, like, from last 5 years, what is the trend of his profit. Is it improving or is it decreasing or is it maintaining the stability? Now, the same information is also useful for the investors also, because if in a business shows that there are more fluctuations means at 1 year it is increasing and another year it is decreasing, then what happens here, that where there is more fluctuations, more risk is there. So, the investors feels that this firm is always fluctuating, so if we invest now seeing the higher profit, we don't know what happens in the next moment. So, this analysis will help to entrepreneurs, investors and many more. So, intra-comparison is must. Then we will go to the inter-comparison. Inter-comparison means comparing between two companies. But the condition here is the two companies should belong to same industry. That means they should deal with the same products. For example, you can compare company A textile with a company B textile company. But you can't compare company A textile with the company C automobile industry. Now, when you are comparing, what is the need to compare this? Again, I will give you a common example. Like recently I have written one competitive exam where I got 89% in that. I felt very happy. I was thinking, oh, it's great, I got 89%. But when I look at into my other competitors' percentages, they all got 90% and 95%, above 90%. Then can I say the same thing like, yes, 89% is the great? Definitely not. Why? Because when I see where I stand in the race, I am at the low. That means inter-comparisons helps you to analyze your business to know where you stand in the market, and that is most important thing in the business, because to survive for the longer period of time you have to analyze with the other competitors, then only you can survive in the business. So, this inter-comparisons helps the management to see their performance with the comparing with the other competitors. Similarly, if you move to the next one, that is industry average comparison. For example, here you take the shareholders. Now shareholders, they see, okay, what is my company's average performance? It shows that 9%. When it compares with the average industry performance, it is 11%. Average industry performance means, industry means a group of companies, and suppose in this industry there are some 4 or 10 companies. If you take an average of that, it comes to 11%. Now you feel that my company is having only 9%, but the industry average is 11%. That means my company is poor performance. And next time when your company asks you for the investment, it is going for an expansion, then definitely you will think this about this point, that my company is less than the industry's performance. Now I should invest or not. So like this, these analysis will help you to take the decision. Now we are going to analyze these financial statements by using different tools and techniques. That is what our second objective, that is, what are the different tools and techniques that we are going to use. One is comparative analysis, then trend analysis, common size analysis, ratio analysis, cash flow statement analysis, and fund flow statement analysis. Now we will go one by one. First, comparative analysis. The name itself says it is comparative. That means you are going to compare your business performance with the last year to take the decisions whether your business is improving or not. Similarly, trend analysis also you will compare with the last year. Then what is the difference between comparative and trend? Comparative analysis, it is a short term comparison. Only with the last year you will measure your performance, whether it is increasing or decreasing. But in trend analysis, you will measure for many years. And thanks to the technology, because nowadays we got the new things, Excel, where you will just put the data and you will get the output. Like that, trend analysis will give you the information for the longer period of time. Now next, if you go for common size analysis, again the name itself says it is common size. What does it mean? Suppose you got a profit, and similarly in the business, in the area there is another person who is earning more profit than you. Now you want to analyze why your profit is less as compared to that business person. Then there may be generally two reasons why the profit varies. One, because of increase in sales. Second one, there may be many reasons, but the two reasons where you can have control on your profit or you can increase your profit is either by increasing sales or by reducing the cost. Now increasing sales is an external factor, because it is not in your hands. If the customers like your products, they will buy your products and your sales increases. But reducing the cost is in your hands. So let us think about what is there in our hands, about the internal factor of controlling the cost. Now here I want to give you one extra information. Generally, we will be calculating the cost for fixation of selling price. For example, if I want to know what is the selling price that I want to fix for this particular marker, then what I will do, I will take the cost into consideration, how much cost incurred for me to produce this marker, plus I will add some profit to that and I will be selling it. Suppose for example, this is a very costly marker. So the cost incurred for me, this is 90 rupees, plus I will add 10 rupees profit and I will sell it to 100 rupees. But the buyers are not ready to take this pen at 100 rupees. So what should I do? I will decrease my profit margin to 5 rupees. So now I will be selling this at 95 rupees. This is a traditional way what we will follow. But there is another method where without sacrificing our profit, we can sell our product at whatever the price we have fixed. It is called as a target costing, which is introduced by Japanese. They will go reverse way. First they will survey, like if I am going to sell this product in the market, what is the pulse of the buyers, at what rate they are going to buy this. So if the survey says it is 95 rupees, so they fixes back 10 rupees is the profit. So 95 plus minus 10, so 85 rupees is their cost price. So they decides that at 85 rupees I have to produce this product by controlling on the materials or by reducing the overheads or like that. So this is a target costing method. Nowadays many people, if you are going to use this, it will be helpful. Now coming back to our common size analysis, in order to control, in order to see why the cost is more, for example, take one item as a common, that is the sales. Sales is our revenue generation. And if you see that in our business, our expenses, 15,000 incurred for telephone and 10,000 for the payment of rent, 5,000 for the payment of electricity bill, 1,000 for printing and stationery. Then what happens if you observe 15,000 is absorbing in telephone expenses. So you will get an idea, okay, if I control at telephone expenses, I may reduce my cost and I can increase my profit. So like this, these analysis helps a lot in the business decision making. Next we will go to the ratio analysis, but this will go in detail afterwards. Then the next is cash flow statement analysis. It is just says what is actual the cash inflow and cash outflow. Then fund flow statements talks a wider concept, taking the fund into consideration. Now if you see, the first three are the accrued analysis and the last two are related only to a particular situation. So if you see among all the analysis, the ratio analysis is the most important widely accepted tool analysis. Why? That fulfills our third objective, to understand the need of ratio analysis. So what is a ratio? Ratio is nothing but it is defined as a numerical or mathematical relationship between two variables which presume to have some kind of cause and effect relationship. So here the cause and effect relationship is important. We can't just take any two variables. For example, if you want to compare, we'll compare height with weight. There are two variables that we are selecting. We can't compare height with the complexion, or we can't compare the weight with the complexion. So similarly in the business also, you have to take two factors which is having a cause and effect relationship. Then how you are going to analyze this? For example, I have one machine which produces 100 units and I have another machine where I want to go for another machine, automatic machinery, because this present machinery is producing me only 100 units. Now that automatic machinery will produce 200 units for me. So I will be thinking that if I produce more 200 units, I can sell in the market and I can get a profit. Then I will go for that. Now when I analyze the cost that incurred for me to buy this asset is 20% extra cost. So I expect that the sales should also increase by 20%. But unfortunately, the sales increased by only 15%. So here what is happening? Cost incurred by 20% and the sales is 15% only. So if you take the ratio, it comes to 4:3. If I just say 4:3, there is no meaning in that. What is that 4:3? You have to analyze, you have to interpret what is that 4:3 means. That is what analysis of ratio. That is, ratio analysis is a technique to assess the liquidity, profitability, solvency and efficiency of business enterprise logically. What does logically means here? Suppose if you take sales of A company 100 millions and B company 500 millions. Then seeing the sales, you will assume that okay, I will invest in the B company, because B sales turnover is more, 500 millions. But when you see the profit, both the companies are earning 10 millions. That means your profit margin is 10%. Now what you will feel here, it is explaining you logically that if you take only the sales figure into consideration, you can't come to a conclusion. You have to take the profit margin out of that sales, how much profit you are earning, then only you can take the correct decision. It means some logically you have to think. Now all these ratios can be presented in different ways, either in percentages or in number of times or fractions or proportions. Now by using these ratio analysis, we will see the further objectives. That is, first, liquidity. Now in the liquidity, what does it mean, liquidity? In normal sense, it means that it is like having a ready cash. Now I came all the way from Warangal to here in car, and at the toll gate they asked me to pay 95 rupees, but I am not having a cash of 95, I had only 50 rupees. I have credit card, I have debit card, I have a bank balance, but that is not supporting me. There I want to pay liquid cash. So I failed to pay that immediate obligation. Similarly in the business also, liquidity means it is an ability to pay its short term and immediate obligations. For example, if you take government, now the government are not paying the salaries, not paying in the sense they are failing to pay our full salary, they are paying half salary or 75% pension amount. It doesn't mean that the government is not having funds or assets the government has, but the liquid cash is not available. Now the government can't say that you wait, I'll sell my assets and I'll pay you the salaries. So here what is the problem? They are facing the liquidity crunch. So imagine what opinion the public will have on the government. So here they are failing to meet the short-term obligations. Similarly, if you take lenders, bank people, if you go for a loan, bank will first see what is your liquidity position. Are you in a position to pay the short term immediately, like are you in a position to pay the interest promptly to the bank or not? Then they will decide whether to give you the loan amount or not. Then suppliers, that is the creditors who will supply goods to you on the credit basis, they also see the same thing, like are you able to meet the short term obligations, are you going to pay them the amount when it is due. Then the management, suppose for example we have to pay our rent, and because of this COVID-19 our business is dull and we are unable to generate the cash, and if we fail to pay the rent to the owner or loan amount, interest amount to the banker, then imagine what all these signals are indicating. It is indicating that our liquidity position is poor, and once if this message passes in the market, in the long run it affects a lot. So we have to take care about this. Now how? With the help of ratios, that is liquidity ratios, where we will be calculating current ratio, quick ratio and super quick ratio. Now we will move to the next, that is about the solvency. Now here solvency means long term obligations that comes from long term period. What does it mean? That means as an individual, as I told that I came in vehicle car, you may think that, oh, madam came in car, so she is very rich, I have my car and I have my house. But do you know that now I have to pay installment amounts for my car and house, where I am not paying it from the last 3 months. That means I am unable to pay my loan amount, because again it is carry forward, no salaries, I am not paying. Of course bank is given a relaxation that now the credit period has extended and you need not pay, but still I am not meeting the long term obligations. Similarly, the lenders, the bank people and financial institutions are giving more assets to the bank business people for the infrastructure purpose or for many other reasons. But now the business people are not in a position to pay the loan amount. It's not just because of the COVID-19, now it is because of the COVID-19, but otherwise also the business people sometimes they fail to pay this amount. So just seeing the assets, you can't judge the financial soundness of an individual or a financial soundness of a business person. Similarly, investor also, when you want to invest, don't just see only assets, you have to concentrate even on the liabilities also, then only you will be knowing the solvency position of the business. Then solvency ratios, it is all helps you to know about the debt equity ratio, interest coverage ratio, dividend coverage ratio. These all ratios will help us to take the decision regarding to the solvency. Now if you see the next, profitability, generally the people will get confused with profit and profitability, but they are both two different terms. Profit is an absolute term which says that okay, I got profit of 10,000 rupees and B got a profit of 6,000 rupees. You may think that okay, A is better because it is getting 10,000 rupees, but it won't take the size of the firm into consideration. But if you take the profitability, the name itself says ability to earn the profit, that is efficiency. If you relate with, like both are, A is saying, as I said, A is getting 10,000 profit and B is getting 6,000. But the investment here they made is 20,000, this is profit and this is investment. Here they made only 10,000 investment. Then what you will see here, they are getting a profit of 50%, here they are getting a profit of 60%. So now your decision changes, because here it is efficiency matters. How efficiently you are utilizing, you are doing your profit margin, you are converting your assets. So when you are going to take a decision, you have to go by profitability. So how these profitability ratios are helpful? Employees, if they want to judge whether they are going to get incentives or not this time, they will see profitability of the organization. Trade unions, if they want to hike the wages, they will go and see the profitability position of the business. Government, they will see what is the profitability that the businesses are earning in the case of taxation, licensing, subsidies. Management, they want to concentrate how much profitability they are earning. and they want to see what is the profitability of their competitors. Investors, they want to see the returns what they are earning on their investment. So like this, profitability ratios are also expressed to the common people, are used by the common people, and the ratios that helps us is we have profitability ratios, that is return on investment and earning per share, dividend per share. Like this we have different ratios. Return on investment means how much you have invested and how much return you are getting, and earning per share for the shareholders, how much they are earning on their shares. Dividend per share, how much they are getting the dividends on their shares. So like this, profitability ratio is also helpful in the business for many people. Now we'll go to the last objective, that is turnover. Turnover is nothing but it talks about the efficiency of the business, how efficiently you are converting your assets into cash. If you taken as an individual, I have a car but I am not using, so just the asset is waste. But nowadays there is more demand for Uber and Olo. So if I engage my car with that cab, then I can earn some return. So that is what my efficiency is. I am converting the idle asset into cash. Similarly for the management, there is one machine, and you take example for closing stock. Like for example, how efficiently you are converting, especially in this COVID period, we can say that who is managing very well, who is more efficient means who is able to sell their stock and who is able to convert their stock into the cash. They are more efficiently, they are managing their closing stock. Similarly, you take an example like before COVID period, 1 month, I was doing my business on the cash basis, because generally I won't trust the people, I'll do only on the cash basis. So my customers, I have only 10, I have only 10 customers and my sales is 1 lakh. But my competitor, he has 20 customers double to me and his sales is 2 lakhs. But at the end of the 1 month, what I saw that I am getting whole amount from my 10 customers and my whole sales are clear. But my competitor, he got only amount from 5 customers and 15 customers are not giving cash. So even though his sales are more, the cash is less. So the efficiency, he is unable to convert his credit sales into cash. So that shows his inefficiency. So to know all these things, we will use the ratios like inventory turnover ratio, receivable turnover ratio and creditor turnover ratio. Now before I sum up, go to a conclusion, I just want to summarize all what we have learned in today's session. That is, first we have seen what is the financial statements. We have 2, that is income statement and balance sheet. Then how to analyze these, what is the purpose and need of financial statement analysis, how this analysis will help the common person to take a decision. And the best technique, even though we have many techniques, we are going to use the best technique, that is ratio analysis technique, because it is simple, easy and acceptable by many people, because it is in simple language and easy calculations. And this ratio analysis covers the 4 dimensions, important dimensions, that is liquidity, solvency, profitability and turnover position of the business. Because if liquidity fails, then solvency fails, then turnover, if you are inefficient, definitely it affects the profitability. That's why in the initially I said that profit is a barometer, but it is not alone a profit, because if liquidity is bad, then it affects your goodwill in the market and in the long run it affects your business. If you are unable to pay your long-term solvency, long-term obligations, then again it affects your business profitability. If you are inefficient, if you are not able to convert your assets into cash, assets are many, but you are unable to convert that into cash, then again that shows your inefficiency. So not just a profit, you have to concentrate on all these 4 dimensions. Thus, we can say that the stronger the pillars, the longer the life of business enterprise. And these are the learning outcomes. I just want to conclude my session by giving one quotation quoted by Warren Buffett. That is, investors analyzing the substance and character of the business is the holy grail of investing. And just before ending, I just want to give you one assignment to self-assessment to know whether the session is clear for you or not. That is, what is the main objective of ratio analysis? Is it to assess, test solvency, measure the profitability, reflect the efficiency, all the above? Yes, it is all the above. Then last, I'll just give one small assignment for you. It is like learning by doing. By doing these assignments, we can say that you will learn the things better. Practice makes man perfect. So practice. Okay. Thank you to all the viewers. Thank you.